Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the HennyPennyMakes podcast. I'm Erin, otherwise known as Henny Penny, and I'm a yarn dyer, colour therapist and crafter based in Scotland. The last episode I shared all of my finished objects, which was really nice because it was lovely to feel that I had achieved a lot, because sometimes I think when we're making things it's very easy to forget all that we've done already and just look at whatever we've still got to do. But today is a roundup of my whips, so please don't judge me. I have a lot. Some of them are current ones, some of them have been shelved for a wee while, some of them I'm full of intention to go back to, but just there's other things that have taken precedence over the last year or so. Some of them are very much long-term projects, and some of them I've completely forgotten about. So yes, I will just start. I'll dive in because otherwise I'll never get going. Right, I'll start with this. Now, for some reason, I have left this in the middle of a row, which is not something I usually do. If I'm doing a blanket or something, I usually finish the row before I stop. So I have no idea, unless it was because I got interrupted, because it is a long time since I worked on this. So maybe I got interrupted by my wee one at the time and put it down and never came back to it. So this is, I'm sure this is the Ripple blanket by... yeah, I'm sure it's called Ripple Blanket by Attic24, Lucy of Attic24. So I decided I wanted to make it in cotton. I saw a long time ago when I was in the Yarn Cake in Glasgow, saw gorgeous cottons, drops cottons, they're Muscat ones, and I fell in love with them because they had such a great range of colours. Then I bought more when I saw more colours online and started to blanket. And it's lovely, but I struggle working with cotton, I must be honest. Really, really hurts my wrists. I don't know why, because lots of people love it and lots of people can work with it no problem, but I really struggle with it, which is why this one is so long. Otherwise it would have been done years ago. It's honestly been years that this has been on the hook. But I'm going to hold it up so you can see, because it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's a really heavy blanket, so it'll be so nice to lie under or snuggle under. It's really beautiful, but it's just so hard on my hands that I really struggle with it. I love the pattern and I love the colours, but yeah, it's just as stiff as anything. I get really sore. So my aim, hopefully, I say this every time I take this blanket out, I'll do a roll every few days, and then life happens and I put it away again for a while. So God knows, it'll probably be like a graduation present for my daughter or something at this rate, the rate I'm going. But it is really lovely. I do want to finish it because it's so pretty. And I bought all the yarn for it to be able to, I think I bought enough to do 3 repeats, because I reckoned that should give me a decent size of blanket. But oh my goodness. I'm not far off oh no, I am actually quite far off. I'm only about halfway. Oh God, I will get it done. The colours are so pretty, and it's got a lovely sheen to it without being shiny, if you know what I mean. It just kind of glows, but oh, I don't know when. I need to be strict with myself. That is something I need to do. It's just be like, right, this has to get done. So maybe with the podcast it will give me the kick up the bum to get it done. It's just so nice. Mind you, it's the sort of thing once I finish I won't ever want to come out from underneath, so I'll just stay cuddled up in it. So that's my first whip, which is a long term one, but I will get it done eventually. Okay, then a much more recent one. I have started with my Famous 5 club, started making hexagons. And I started a granny stripe. Again, I stopped, but that's because I was in the middle of it yesterday, and then my dog decided he wanted a cuddle, and my daughter wanted to do something, and then I couldn't find my hook. So I don't know. Blankets are not doing very well at the moment, but I do love making them, so I will get it done. Just have to find the right hook again. I know what size it is, so it's fine. I can do it. So what I'm doing for both of these is holding the 4-ply held double. I'm using a bigger hook than you would normally use for the granny stripe blanket. So this again is by Lucy of Attic 24. I have made a granny stripe before. I've made a couple of them. They're really lovely to work on, so easy. Yeah, so I'm using a 5.5mm hook for this and for the hexagons, so I'll show you them, but only just started it. But I'm doing, so my Famous 5 club has been running for 2 years. This is its 3rd year. And at each quarter I have the book cover and then 2 colours that are inspired by it. So this one was the very first one, obviously, 5 on a Treasure Island, and the colours of the book. And then there was ingots, and then the 3rd colour is the wreck. Now I have the wreck here because I started making socks. Originally I was going to make socks in each colourway, and then I realised life's too short for that. So I did this, and it's a lovely pattern. I cannot remember the exact name of it. Is it Alice? I think it's called Alice. So one of Verity from Truly Hooked, her sock patterns is beautiful, but I did it on circular sock needles. I did the heel and everything, and then I tried it on to work out where to start the toe and realised it's way too baggy for my feet. So that put me off. It's a really lovely, gorgeous pattern. Kind of hard to see on my hands, but it's really lovely. I love it so much. So I was really disappointed, but I've left it on the needles just so I could show you, and then I'm going to rip it back and use it in the blanket and things. But yeah, so this is the wreck colourway. So I think it'll look really nice after that one. So now that I've shown you that, I'll be able to carry on with my blankets. So I'm, as well as the granny stripe, I'm doing hexagons, again holding the yarn double. Now, I was going to try and do a join as I go thing, but I quite like having a portable project, especially for like knit night or something like that. Something that's easy that I don't need to worry about like making a mistake when I'm chatting with friends and things, because it's nice to have projects, but sometimes it's the social side of it's actually lovely for me because I don't get out that much and socialise. So my knit night means a lot to me. So yeah, I wanted something that's easy, so I've decided just to keep them all individual and then join them at the end. I also have something in mind that I might keep one of each for. I'll see when it comes, when I've done several of them, how it looks and whether it's what I'm thinking is going to work. At the moment I don't know about like filling them in, you know, like the half hexagons. I don't know whether I'm going to do that or whether I'm just going to leave the edges sort of ziggy-zaggy. I don't know, but I love them and they're so fun to make. They work up really quickly, same as these squares that I did for this blanket. They work up really quickly. It's nice to have something soft and speedy, and also to be finally using these yarns because I wanted to do something. I wanted to make a blanket for my daughter because we read the Famous 5 books together, and it's a really special thing, and I want her to have something that when she's older, it's kind of it's nice to have something nostalgic, isn't it, that's a comfort and brings back good memories. So so that's what this one is going to be, is the granny stripe. I'm hoping that, but I also want to try making a blanket in another way, so I'm aiming to make a pattern with this. So I haven't done a lot yet, but I've done a few. I've got some odd bits in there. I've done a few different colours. I shared on my social media the colourways, the last 2 years of colourways. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but I like this one a lot. It's kind of a grey blue with little hints of red and green. This one, it's kind of hard to see. Yeah, you definitely can't see that properly. Let me see if I can, maybe if I show you the back, it shows a better, little hints of purple and grey and gold. It's really pretty. And this one, which is actually looks grey on, just completely grey, but it's more blue. I don't know if you can see there. I'm not doing very well with this today. Got blues and sort of indigos in it. So that's, so far I've got 5 sets. I'm making 5 of each for the Famous 5. yeah, so 5 of each hexagon at the moment. I've done a couple of other ones that are just individual ones so far, just to see how they looked. So I think it'll be a really nice blanket when I'm finished. Colourful, but not more kind of slightly vintage colourful. Oh, I've just remembered. I've done it again. I've just remembered another project that I've got upstairs. It's also hexagons that I started years ago that I was going to show you. I'll try and pop it in it. If it cuts here, I'll pop it in here. So that is my most recent cast on, kind of 2 cast-ons, but the hexagons will work up really quickly, and I'm aiming to do just like a double stripe of each of these colours, and then at the moment I don't know whether to put a stripe of the white in between each book section, each quarter, or whether to just have them run from one to the other. I haven't decided that yet, but once I catch up to the 2 years, which won't take that long, fingers crossed, it should be easy because I can just keep on top of it every month, just add another stripe, which will be lovely. So that's my aims for that. That's just a bit left over. So I kept a sock set from each colourway, so I'm going to use the minis for something because I realised how many lovely colours there are. I'm thinking something colour work might be nice. I don't know yet. There's always so many possibilities. That's my trouble. I always have all these ideas and it's just finding the time to do it, I think. I always think I'm going to have, yeah, excuse the fact I've got plastic bags, but it's just for storing yarn. It's always easier to keep the things that I'm working on or not working on handy, and sometimes we go to the beach and I take things with me, so I always have like a plastic bag or something just to keep it clean and tidy. What was I saying? Yeah, so the minis I might use for something colour work. I have so many ideas. I have a million patterns on my to make list. Same as a million books on my to read list. Just could do with a second version of me to be able to do it all. But I'm sure we all feel like that, don't we? Okay, right, I'm going to carry on with the blankets because the blankets are the main thing here. The third one I've got here is one which I haven't taken out of the bag for a while. I was working on it religiously and then I had to go to several yarn festivals and it got set aside. So I cannot remember where exactly I am. So I wasn't last year, the year before I subscribed to Yarn Unique's Decades Club, I think it was, and I had several of Laura from the Lonely Knitters TV scrappy sets, and I wanted to make like a big scrappy blanket that would be perfect for snuggling under when we're watching TV and things. So I decided to combine the two and make sort of panels. So again, using the idea of this yarn held double, I started making squares and then joined them together in blocks. Was it 12? No, 16 blocks. Yeah. Just so that I could join them and not have to do a lot of stitching at the end or joining at the end, but at the same time not have things that were too massive to carry with me because this was a knit night project for a while. And then I used, for the border, I've used 2 drops yarns. Have I got any there? No, I haven't got the label. I can't remember. They're Charisma? Is that the right one? I'm not getting confused with that one. Yeah, I think it's Charisma. They're sock one, basically. I held one of the greys and the blacks together just to do the border, just for a bit of a difference. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I've done the top of this 1, 3. So I've got 2 more panels to add. I have loads of squares made up. I think I've got enough for almost a second blanket, but that's nice because it's nice to have options. So I want to get this finished, this blanket done, and the ends woven in on it. I'm going to try and be strict with myself about ends because it's a lovely blanket to, yeah, you know me, snuggle under anything. So that's a third one. Yeah, so I've got loads sitting over there to use. Oh, I can see the Fable, Drops Fable. That's the, I can see the ball over there with the rest of the wool. The Charisma was another blanket I made years ago, that's why I'm getting confused. So I think I'll have plenty to make a second blanket like that, which is nice because you never have enough in our house because we love our blankets, we really do. I know I say it all the time, but blanket people. It's always a thought to come out from underneath them, I think. To be honest, I never want to budge. Right, the next thing I have, excuse me till I dig out all the bits. Oh yeah, I've got the, 2 seconds. So I showed this during Vlogmas and it was, just checking I didn't have anything else. Yeah, so when I did my very first advent calendar, I decided to make a Land of Sweets cowl. I just kept a 10 gram because that was all I did that year, and made a Land of Sweets cowl. And then my friend Helen from Giddy Yarns made, because we swapped, she made a beautiful blanket with it, and I bitterly regretted not keeping a second set that I could make a blanket. So I decided to do squares for like the Battenberg blanket by am I right in thinking it's Sandra Cherry Heart? Yeah, I'm sure that's right. Honestly, when you start doubting yourself. If it's wrong, I'll put it on the screen. So I started making squares for Battenberg, but I know, having made one or worked on one before, that it's too much just doing the whole thing. So I decided to make panels, and I'm going to join them together. So this was the very first year, because I wanted to kind of have a record of the colours I dyed, and it's just nice to have them like this. I think I've told you before, this one is Magic Moments from when, because it was all Quality Street themed. So most of them are like the colours from the wrappers and things. This one's Magic Moments because I grew up with the adverts and them singing Magic Moments. This one was What's in Your Tin, because I always keep the tins from chocolates and often have things stored in there like buttons and things. These were advertising themed, like vintage posters and things. And then this was based on the tin that they did. They did a tin a couple of years ago, I think it was 3 years ago, whenever I did the advent. I can't remember, 2019? Must have been 2019. Yeah, they did a big rainbow tin. I've got one upstairs, it's gorgeous. So anyway, so that's how I themed it. This was Miss Sweetly, the lady that was always on the tins, and I think that was Major Quality, if I remember rightly. So I'm rambling, but it's just nice to explain, I think, sometimes where the colours come from. So I've made one panel. I have enough. I made 2 of each square, so I'm going to do a second panel because eventually I want to make a blanket, but I want to be able to balance the colours so it's not just all like, because each year is so different. I have done the ones from the Radio Times one, which was 2021. This is from the pantomime themed one, which was 2020. And then my 2022 one is still in mini form because I've done nothing with it. I do want to make something, but I'm not sure whether to divide them. So again, like some of the other ones, they weren't meant to fade. They were meant to be individual standalone colourways. But they do kind of work. I'll put a picture on screen that I took along with a mini skein that someone was asking for a colour reference to see what would work with the advent calendar to make like a garment. And yeah, you can kind of see it would kind of work, but I don't know whether to split it into 2 lots and make accessories like a hat and a cowl and things like that, or I don't know, or to use them all in like a shawl, or just make like a big scrappy blanket of sorts with them. I honestly don't know what to do. I did think about making another jumper, but I think I'd need to pick out some main colours to blend with it. I'm just not sure yet, which is why it's still like this. But I am going to make this, wind them eventually and make the squares for it, making panels and catch up. And then I've got this year's one that this year just passed, the 50 laps around the sun. So I want to make a cardigan with it, but I'm going to first do the squares to make sure I've got enough of that set aside before I make the cardigan. Although I keep seeing other patterns and I'm like, oh, it would be nice to make that with it instead, so I don't know. I might still change my mind. But that is my advent project, my own advent project. So, considering how many squares I've made, I just need to get them joined. But again, other blankets are so quick and easy to make that that one is more of a fiddle, because just the making of the neutral squares takes a wee while, and joining it. It's because it doesn't... There's nothing wrong with the joining technique, it's absolutely perfect, but it just doesn't feel intuitive to me. I have to think about it so much, especially if I leave it and come back to it. I have to go back and check how to do it, and then it still feels just awkward to me. It's just the way I am. But what works for me doesn't always work for other people. So anyway, I will get it done. I need to make a list of all of my things and then work out which one I want to get finished first, I think. Okay, so Vlogmas, I also showed this one, which I showed on the last podcast episode, excuse me for the rustles, and also the fact that there's loads of ends hanging here. This is an advent blanket I started using Helen of Giddy Yarns Narnia advent calendar 2 years ago. I can't remember. It's terrible. It must be 2 years ago. So I've only done a few stripes on it. I paired it with undyed, like a gold sparkle yarn, and it's just my own pattern. I'm just making up a kind of super simple garter blanket, but it's lovely. It'll be a good bit wider when it's done. I wanted to make something that for my daughter, so I'm doing it in the order of the colours that Helen put them in, so that when she's older it'll be like a reading blanket. That was the idea. Although at this rate she's going to have so many blankets for reading, I don't know. Yeah, she'll probably be like, Mum, I haven't got space in my house. But it's just, I don't think you can ever have too many. But I haven't touched this for ages, so I need to get back to it. It's the reason that I haven't touched it is because I decided, thinking it would be nice to have, it's not really easy to see on this, is it? Like this one, you might see it better. I don't know if you will see it actually, excuse the ends, oh goodness me. Where the rows kind of overlap, the undyed and the colour overlap, I thought it'd be nice to have that edging like as a little feature. And then I got really confused as to which row I was supposed to change on. And it kind of put me off, and it's silly because it's just me. I shouldn't have done it that way at all. And I'm sure if I took it back and just knitted it plain, it would be much easier and I would get on with it really fast, because it's so straightforward, just knitting back and forth. But it's just, you know, when you do something and you think it's going to be nice and then you think, I just made my life more complicated when I didn't need to, when there's enough complications already. So yeah, I don't know whether to take it back or whether to just risk it and hope that I get it right. I'm sure if I sit and think about it properly, it won't take me long to work it out, and then from then on I could just work on it religiously and get it done, because it will be lovely. So that's only a third of the blanket, so it's not going to be a massive one, but I just wanted something that she could snuggle under, or wear as a wrap, I suppose, if she's a bit older and doesn't feel like, yeah, it was just, I don't know. I might use some yarn and pick up an edging or something on it. Sometimes when I make things up, I just don't know. We'll see where it goes. They're fun though to do that usually. Right, I'm gonna have a massive pile of stuff here to work through. Right, what else have I got? Is there anything else there that's... No, nothing in there that's blanket related. Right, this one. So, I said I started making... Yeah, I used the Lay Family Yarn minis, the Advent, to do... I feel like I used other minis from... Oh! Yeah, when I spoke about this in the last one, I said it was the Lay Family Yarn Rainbow Chronicles and the Rainbow Advent, but it wasn't. It was the Rainbow Advent and the Village one, Squiddle Village. That's what it was, the minis. Because I'm looking at it just now going, yeah, these are too variegated to have been rainbow ones. So yeah, it was the Squiddle Village. That's what it was. Right. I did have the Rainbow Chronicles though, and I made squares to join. So I've got them all in here, all the different colours. Because you know me, I can't resist a rainbow. So I've got lots of stacks. I just did little, I can't remember what size I used for this. I will have it written down somewhere. I think it was the same as the other crochet patterns I've done, which is 2.5 millimetre, I think. So it's just little granny squares, super simple. So I've got them all stored in here, and then I have one that I've joined or started joining. So I wanted to do something that, yeah, I'd forgotten that this is how I'd done it. I wanted to do something that was a bit like the Battenberg, but easier to show these off. So I decided to do like panels like this. I'm very much a like work on small things, make loads of them and then join them together kind of person. Like I love the look of like the mitered square blankets, the jelly roll blanket, even the sweet shop one that's come out, all those kind of things. But I hate picking up stitches. I hate stitching things together. If I can get away with it, I won't do that. I'd much rather crochet things together. So yeah, so I decided to make panels. So again, I was thinking I might just do like a little free pattern for this, because I used the same for one of the other blankets that I'm working on. I'm assuming it's in there. I actually just realised how many blankets I've got. It's terrible, but oh well, it brings me pleasure. So my aim is with all of the colours from the rainbow one to do this. So I've got a few squares that I've crocheted up, and then I'll just unwind part of it and crochet at the end, because I thought that was maybe easier than making them and then being put off because I was doing one at a time. I thought it might be easier to do it this way. I don't know if it is. Yeah, I have still got all my ends to sew in. It's terrible. But maybe if I do it in blocks, I can actually just do a bit at a time and it won't feel such a chore. So I think it'll be really nice when I get all the blocks of colour together. I have got loads of scraps left from this, so eventually I'll make something else with it. I just don't know what. I only took, yeah, it was the palette packs that they did, so it was 10 grams of each colour, which was lovely. I was very tempted when they did a re-dye of it to buy more, but then I talked myself out of it because I have to be sensible. There's a limit to how much you can have. But excuse me for the rustling. So we'll wait till we see how many blankets that 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 blankets so far. Now this I had originally intended on making a blanket, but I don't think I'll have enough, which is fine because it was just scrappy packs, and I showed this on the last one, the with my chakra colours. So I've done the pink, the red and the orange, and then I got I stopped. I've crocheted up the yellow and the green, but I haven't gone any further. Oh, that's the wrong side. So I think it'll look lovely, but there's definitely not enough to make a blanket unless it's a tiny one. I'll have to see when it's finished, when I've actually joined them all, and see what I want to do. It would make a lovely wrap, that's for sure. But I think it would have made a nicer wrap if I'd actually mixed the colours the whole way through, picked the 12 colours out. But, well, I'll see. Maybe when I lay it out, I'll like it more. I don't know. The other option is I turn them into cushions, but I don't know. My dog loves cushions. Does anyone else's dog do that? Like grab the cushions and run around the room and because he just loves doing that. I don't know if it's because it gets my attention. I think that's probably the reason. But I think there's also, I read somewhere recently about dogs sometimes do that with soft toys or cushions, like, and mouth it because it reminds them of like when they were a puppy and the comfort from that. So maybe it's something as simple as that. And that's why he does it. It's just a comfort thing. I don't know. But anyway, so I wouldn't, if I was making cushions, they would have to go somewhere that he wasn't going to get into the room. They would make pretty cushions though. but there would be a bit much to have 12 different ones. And I don't really want to use one backing the other because then you wouldn't see the colours. Anyway, I overthink things far too much. Yeah, so that's the green ones there, and then I've got, that must be the violet ones. I've got them all set aside, I just need to find the time to do them. Okay, so that one we're going to not count as a blanket. Next up is my colour therapy blanket that I started ages ago with my colour therapy club. So this was the first year. I've got them all made in here. And then the second year I have made several of them. I've got blue and violet, which I haven't done yet, grey and brown. So I've got 4 months to do. Again, I love this and I want to get it done because it's all just little blocks like this. And then I can decide how I'm going to join them. Because I think it'll be nice to do that and have them together. I've laid them out before and tried to work out whether to do just a massive rainbow or whether to try and blend the colours down. It does work really well working through the colours. I think it would look really pretty just all mixed together. I honestly don't know. But yeah, this was one of those ones that I was working on while I was doing the club, and then I got to the end of it and there were so many other things needing done that it got shoved to the side. So I have the yarn set aside for it, I just need to make the time to do it. I mean, it won't take me long. So I've only got 4 months left to do of that. I don't know, it doesn't take any length of time, so I really should get on with it and then see how I want to lay it out. It will certainly be full of colour. It looks like there's a lot of the same colours, but they are different. What would you do? Would you go mixed rainbow or would you work through the colours? I mean, I'll still do what I want myself, but it's just nice to have an idea of what other folk would do. I originally was leaning on working through the colours, but now I think it would be much prettier laid out, just in a mix. So I did this with a scrappy set. So I had, for that club, I did the option of 10 scrappy bobbins, which was really lovely and great fun, but at the same time it knackered my shoulders and chest muscles. I still have injuries from that. It flares up every so often. I have to be really careful, otherwise I'm in agony. So between winding and everything, the winding of the actual winder, the winding onto the bobbins, everything really did a lot of damage. So it's not scrappies are not something I'm offering anymore, really. I do still have my scrappy cowl. I do occasionally make some scrappies for it if I've got time and bits left over, but it's not something I'm doing anymore because I just can't, unless I got somebody in who wanted to do it and was able to do it in a more sustainable way. I did far too much with the club. Because I was doing heaps and heaps of them and it was just too much every month. And even just winding the yarn off the skein onto a ball to start with was just like hundreds of them. It was ridiculous. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I don't offer scrappies anymore. But I do love making scrappy things, so I will always try and find new ways to use them because we've always got leftovers, haven't we? But yeah, so for each colour I'll have 10 blocks. So 120 blocks. So I honestly don't know what to do with them. Whether to do them mixed or not. It'll just be a case of see when I come to finish it. So that makes blanket number 8. Trying to think if I've got any more in here. Oh, I do. Forgot. I've got 2 more at least. So this one is a shop sample though. So that's not so bad. So this is the Habitation throw by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. So it's done for Advents, done with Advents in mind, but I wanted to use one of my fade packs. So when I did my chakra club, I also dyed up spare yarn so I could make some fade packs. So that's what this is. working through the colours. So I've started on, only just, but started on the decreases now, so I won't be too long and I'll be whizzing back through the rows again. Is that the longest sort of section just now, but I love it. And then we're going towards the darker blue kind of colours. This one is actually, it looks slightly lighter, but it's a different blue. This is more turquoise blue, so yeah, it'll be nice to get that finished. It won't take me long to do this, to be honest. So I think this is high on my list because I'd like to have it done for East Anglia in March. Because I have lots of packs. I have lots of the chakra ones and I have other fade packs that I put together that would look really nice as a blanket. I also want to make a jumper or a t-shirt, like the sorrel or the spring sorrel or something like that with them, because I think it'd be really nice. But it's a lovely pattern. I love the Habitation throw. It's so easy. It's a nice one for night actually because it's not complicated. So I've got that one, so that's blanket number 9. And then this one I haven't got the needles in it because I was working on it and then I stopped. I will come back to it, but at the same time I'm not sure, because this is done with minis, I'm not quite sure I like the combination. I think that's why I haven't gone any further, because I thought I might make a different blanket with it instead. So this is, oh my goodness, Siobhan's, is it Siobhan's Crafts? Siobhan's Yarns? I can't remember, that's terrible. Anyway, she did a Grandad's Garden advent. Now, my dad loved his garden. Absolutely loved it. And I thought it would be nice to get this and make something for my daughter. A blanket that she could, and for myself too, that we could snuggle under together. So I did start doing it, but I'm not quite sure, like, because the colours, like the width of the strips and everything changed so much, I'm not quite sure I like it as much. I think it would suit a more, like a crochet blanket better, but that's just me. But I've done this much anyway, and they were all flower themed. So I do have a note of them somewhere, all the different colours. I think the first one was Daisy. I can't remember all of them. They're really pretty, but I'm just not, I don't know, it just doesn't really do it for me. It's too irregular in this pattern. I think that's why I wanted to do the Habitation throw with a fade, because I thought it would blend more evenly, shall we say. So this is blanket number, what did I say? 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'm losing count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sure oh yeah, and then the famous 5 ones. 8, 9. Yeah, this is blanket number 10. But this one might get frogged and turned into a different kind of blanket, because I've kept all the minis for it aside. So I think the colours are just too pretty to put in a blanket that I'm not happy with. And it's not a reflection on the pattern. I think it's just the fact that as it increases, the stripes get smaller, and I'm just not, it's just not my cup of tea. Because even the original picture I don't really like very much, because I don't like the way the colours stripe, or so yeah. So although it's blanket number 10, I might rip it out. We'll see. I'll just leave that just now and I'll sort it after. Right, I think that is me. Oh no, it's not me finished with the blankets. Oh god. You'll think I've got an addiction to blankets, honestly. Yeah, no, I've got at least 2 more. So my camera ran out of battery, so I've had to put it on charge, and I'm going to try and rush through the other bit so that I can get it done before it happens again. Otherwise I'd be all day. Right, I think I was about to talk about these squares. So when Helen from Giddy Yarns did her nostalgia club a couple of years ago, what did I end up making with them? can't remember now. I bought it and did something. Now I can't remember what it was. That's terrible. I cannot remember, that's ridiculous. Anyway, I decided to do some little squares. I haven't done them all, I've still got some months to do. Yeah, so just crochet some little squares, one of each colourway. I've also got a scarf here that I started working on too, using them. That is ridiculous, I cannot remember what I made with it. That's going to bug me all day now. Yeah, so I started a scrappy scarf too. Just using the, can't remember how much, I think I weighed it and it was about 5 grams. So eventually I will just write up the very simple scarf pattern because it is just a simple one. Pop it on the website. But yeah, working through the colours. So I've still got a few to go, but once I've done my stripe, I was making a square of each. So I don't know what to do with that. I might keep, I've got loads of leftovers from other clubs and things. I might just do the same, make little squares with them, or one of each, and then eventually make like a big blanket or something. Or I might turn this into something else, I'm not really sure, but at the moment I've got like a wee bag of them to do. And I've got this scarf, which is lovely, so that's the next 3 for adding to that. And then I can't remember, I think I've maybe got 2 or 3 months left to go. Yeah, so it must be, yeah, it must have 3 months left to go. So I should really power on with that and get that done because it wouldn't take me long. And then I could decide what I'm going to do with those squares or if I want to add something else to them. I'm not sure now. Now the next one is a Norah George blanket club from a few years ago. And I started doing panels with it. Oh no, I thought I had them attached all together. So I had them in order. It doesn't really matter, but it's just, I'm one of those people that likes to keep things in the order that they were done in, if I can. So yeah, I'm sure I've shown this on the podcast before, lots of panels like this. Again, I will write up some simple pattern one day. I've gotten really cold since I stopped recording before my phone ran out of batteries, and I'm struggling to speak now. I don't know why. I think I need a cup of tea to warm me up. So if I'm stumbling over my words, that's why I'm like, oh, it's so cold. This cardigan's lovely, but it's not cosy. It's the Timely cardigan by Libby Johnson of Truly Myrtle, and it's a really lovely one. Except I wish I'd done the sleeves longer because I've got a long sleeve top underneath this. But it's a lovely cardi, but it's not a cosy one. Yeah, so I've got a few of these panels. I've got loads left to do. So let me see how many I've got there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I subscribed for 2 years, so I've got 16 left to do. Yeah, that's quite a lot. I do like doing this as well, but because I join as I go. Like I started with this one and then join as I'm going. It just feels more fiddly. They're only little squares, but sometimes bigger things work. You know, like if you know you've got 6 rounds or 8 rounds, it kind of it just goes quicker. When there's only, what was there, 3 rounds there, they're quite slow to do. But anyway, I will get that done. So that's blanket 12, soon to be 11. But I think that's all the blankets that I started. Apart from there's just one upstairs, which I said I'll show it in the next thing. I'm not going to run up and grab it just now. But it's a hexagon pattern, crochet pattern that I saw on, I think it's Erica Eccles, I'm not sure, I think that's her Instagram name. And she had, like, she's got a lovely feed, and she had like this vintage style blanket that I fell in love with using tapestry wools. And so my mum had quite a collection of tapestry rolls from over the years, and I just started making the hexagons with them, and oh, I love it. It'll be a gorgeous blanket when it's done, really vintage looking. But yeah, I did loads of them, and then I got sidetracked with other things, and especially because that was at the very beginning, before, I think even before my business started off, I started doing them. So yeah, it's gotten sidetracked majorly because of that. But at some point I'll come back to it. It will be lovely. It's got a nice feel to it because it's proper wool, if you know what I mean. Like, it's got that, like, merino's beautiful, but it's so soft and silky that you don't really feel like it's wool as such. Whereas this blanket has that nice sort of, I don't know, original kind of feel to it, if that makes sense. I don't know, it probably doesn't, but I really like it. So I will come back to it at some point. But it's kind of, I've stored it somewhere else from all my normal stash, so that's another reason I'd forgotten all about it. It was in my head the other day to get it, and then I forgot. Right, that's all the blankets. So, what have I got to show then? Right, I have my tin of socks that I'm gradually getting through it. There's not as many in here now that are needing heels. So I've got this pair that need heels. This one, I had hoped to get these ones. I think I had these 3 on my list for over Christmas to try and get heels in, but I didn't manage, but I will get them done. I'm trying to do just like when I'm in the mood for getting them done. So I've got those 3, and then I've got another pair of Castledine scrappy socks to do. Yeah, this one was from the Yarn Badger, one of her advent ones from a couple of years ago. This one is a London House Yarns one, and this one is a Giddy Yarns with a heel and toe and cuff by Yarn Unique, I think it was. I grabbed out my stash. This is also Giddy Yarns. At the moment Helen's taking a break from stripes for a little while, which is understandable because they're a lot of work. But I'm lucky I've got some of her yarn already. I've got a couple of balls set aside, I think. Then this one is the Dotty Wool Company. So this was the first, right, so she did a Friends themed club. Now I love Friends. Very much grew up with it and I love it. So yeah, she did a year of colourways that were themed like the 10 seasons and then Thanksgiving and Christmas, I think it was. So this was season 1. I cannot remember what the colourway name is. If I can find the tag, I will put it online. I can't remember, honestly. It's terrible. But that's the first one. I love that one. It's going to annoy me now that I can't remember. I think it was to do with the lights. New York City has no power or something like that when there was the power cut. I think that's what it was. So I've got those ones. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs of socks needing heels. So if I'm good, I might at least get 1 pair done before the next podcast. And if I'm not good, oh well. I'll have cast something on instead. But that's good. So at least that's some socks that are almost done. What have I got next? Then I have... Sorry, I'm trying to do this in a sensible order. So then I've done 1 sock of the next Friends one, which is He's Her Lobster or something like that, from the second series of Friends. So I love those colours, aren't they pretty? So I haven't cast the second one on yet, but I've got it ready to go. And oh yeah, for these I'm using my bronze undyed base for the heels and toes because it's just gorgeous. I thought it would be nice to go with them. So if I can, I'm going to try and do a bit more of that. Then I have, just looking to make sure that I don't have any more. Yeah. So then I said I had, in the last episode when I was talking about my rainbow of socks, I said I had violet ones and grey blue ones on the needles. So here's the violet ones. I've only done a little bit of this, but I'm trying to do them 2 at a time rather than, or as close to 2 at a time as I can. Ends getting tangled. So So I will have to focus on them as well, just to get them done, because they've been on the needles for ages. And then this one, I ended up pulling needles out of because I wasn't happy with it. So I was trying to pick colours that I thought went well together. So I picked this, my main colour, and then I picked that cuff, which is kind of it's hard to tell, but it's kind of a grey blue and the pale blue. And then I picked this, which is so this is Autumn Dusk and this is Green Slate. And they're very similar, but that one's more green and this is more blue, obviously. But then when I made it, I was like, I don't know if I like them together, which is why I haven't gone any further with these. But I couldn't find a blue that was just right for going with these, because every other blue that I tried, if I tried like the brighter blue, it just made this look really strange, or it looked far too blue in comparison. So I haven't found anything yet, which is why I picked the Green Slate, but I'm just not sure about it. It's frustrating when you find something that almost works and then you're just not quite sure, because it looks pretty just like that, doesn't it? But each of these socks have got 3, like a solid, a variegated and a solid, and then a solid cuff, and I just don't know what to do. I'd even looked at this blue, but again it's too bright. It just makes that look dingy. I don't know. So maybe if you see the balls together, it's kind of hard to tell. You can see the colours maybe better there. I thought they should work well together, but I'm just not sure. Maybe I just need to go for it and knit more of it, and then I'll be happy when I do. I don't know. But I've got them on the needles, and I want to do the brown and the grey ones that I've set yarn aside for, and I think I've got yarn for another purple pair. I have a feeling I've got another one. I could be wrong though. And as I said, I want to do a pale pink set, and then I'll feel like I've completed my rainbow more than once. Okay, so I think that's all the socks I've got on the needles just now, which it's not that much for me, I must be honest. Right, then I have my next gnome. So Sarah from Imagine Landscapes has done several gnome patterns, as you'll know from previous episodes. She also does a festive make-along, and this year's one was to create Mr. Knightley. Now I started working along with the clues in December, and then as life goes, that went out the window. So I've only done this much so far, but it's quite obvious I'm sure you'll have seen spoilers already, that it's a little snowman. So I'm really looking forward to finishing him, and then have the gnome that goes with him. This whole story's built into the make-along, which is lovely. But that's as much progress as I've made so far. Plus a little scarf and his arms, I think that's it. But I'm hoping I will get more done soon. I just need to, again, sit down and focus on it. I just need to pick something and work on it till it's finished. But there always seems to be other things that need to be done, and then occasionally I just get a notion and I'm like, I really just want to work on whatever I want to work on. So hopefully I will get back to that soon. The gnomes never take any length of time to make, but one of the reasons I haven't finished that one was because I use a stone in the bottom of mine for weight. So I stuff them with like the all the ends from the yarn that I snip off when I've been making things, or if I've been like winding wool, the ties and all those kind of things. And I keep them all in a big jar, and then I use them to stuff the gnomes. So that's not very heavy to keep them standing up, so I usually put a stone in the bottom, and we often will see one on the beach. But we only went to the beach the other day for the first time in months, because with the bad storms, Storm Babette, that caused lots of flooding around this area and things, it also washed away a huge part of the defences at the beach, and so the road was shut off there and things, and we just kind of avoided it for a while. And when we went the other day, I was really shocked at how much there's a lot of it eroded. It's awful seeing it. And one, it doesn't really matter to anyone else, but it does matter to me, but there's like a bit of the beach that we sometimes go to where there's a boardwalk goes down, and the amount of wood, huge bits of trees that were covering it, and then the water was in so much further than it ever normally is. It never comes in that far at the highest point of the tide. And then you can see heaps of the coastline is getting closer and closer to Montrose. It's quite scary, and I don't know what's going to be done about it. They've been assessing it for years apparently. 15 years they've been keeping an eye on things, so I don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, because there was so much driftwood and trees and everything washed up on the beach, it was a lovely day. We had a great while on the beach for a January day. It was gorgeous, much milder than I thought, but there were no stones, it was all wood. So I didn't actually get one to pop in my gnomes, so I'll have to wait until I just find one that's right, and then I'll be able to carry on with it. And yeah, so that's why I haven't done any more of that as well just now. What else have I got? Right, in here, I showed this last time and I don't think I've made any progress on it since then, is the cardigan that I was working on, my own pattern. I did the rainbow one, which I've worn a few times on things, and I often get asked about the pattern, and I have worked on it, tried my best to grade it, but I keep panicking that I've got it wrong. So I wanted to actually make one from the pattern, just to see how it compares with the original. So the original I just made up as I was going. And then to be sure that my calculations are right before I start looking for testers and oh my goodness, I can't think what the term is for the person who sits, tech editor, that's the word. Before I look for a tech editor as well, I want to be sure that at least my cardigan does kind of come out right according to the pattern. So I've done, 3 colours, and then I'm on to the 4th, but I think going by my measurements, that should be almost, according to my measurements and calculations, that should be pretty much like at the arm, but to me it's not, because that's like barely covering my waist. I suppose the waist is technically there, but I think it's there. So I've kind of stalled on it because I'm just not confident. I could do with somebody to help me to make sure that it was right. It will get done, but maybe just need to take a risk. It's always scary when you're trying to do something new and you're not sure. It's because I wouldn't want to put something out there that wasn't right. So it's a while since I've shared this, but this was Jellybeans Yarns. I think it was Dragonflight, and then that's Castleview Yarns, Fear of the Dark. That is Giddy Yarns, Haunting, I think it is, and then that's my one, Tay Street. And then I've got 2 other balls set aside for the top half that kind of go more orange. So I think it'll be lovely when I'm done. Maybe it'll be slightly shorter than the original one, I don't know. Yeah, I just need to sit down and be determined I'm going to get it right, and I will. Okay, now this one I cannot remember the name of, which is terrible, but I will find the name and I'll pop it on screen. So a couple of years ago, Helen and I did a collaboration club. The idea was that we were going to do it quarterly, but unfortunately it wasn't very popular. It's a shame. So we didn't end up carrying on with it because there were other things that needed our time and attention. But we both dyed up. The idea was that we used the same dyes and we created a colourway each. So this was my one. Was it? Yeah, this was my one, and that was Helen's. Both from the same dyes, which was quite cool to see how they came out differently. So this pattern, I think it was a French designer. I will find the name and pop it in the box down below and on screen. But it was to make a shawl. It's got some pretty textures in it. It's been ages since I've worked on it, goodness. But I think it'll be lovely. So it kind of, you do one half in one colour and the other half in the other, but it kind of works together. I thought it should work well with those colours. So I do want to come back and finish that because I think it'll be lovely. It's frustrating that I haven't finished it, but it wasn't a priority, so there you go. It didn't get done. It's like how at Christmas time gift knitting takes over from everything else. And your own pleasures and patterns just go out the window. Right, what else did I have? I have this, which is the confectionery scarf by Lisa Ross. I've only done a tiny bit of it. So I showed on the last one the Rainbow Wings shawl, which used 12 10-gram minis and a skein of like 100 grams of yarn. And it is a gorgeous pattern, really beautiful. But this one uses the same. So I decided to do it with the yak base instead and minis. So I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it'll be very rainbowy. Got lots of nice minis in here. So I've only done a tiny bit of it, but I've just found a key. The random things I find in here. We've been looking for that for ages. Oops. That's the trouble when I go out and about with knitting. Oh well. My husband will never hear the end of it for that, but never mind. Yeah, so that's the confectionery scarf by Lisa Ross. So the pattern looks really lovely. It's just that little bit different because it's got like a zigzag in the shaping. So I think it'll be interesting to see how it comes out. I've only done a tiny bit because actually I could already see the headache of all the ends to weave in. So I think so I did start weaving in my ends actually. I was trying to be good and do it as I was going. So yeah, I think I also wasn't totally certain about the order I'd put the colours in. I think that was the other reason I didn't carry on, because I wasn't sure whether these two looked okay together. But I think they should work. So at some point I'll come back to that. Now this one is a West Knits one of the knit-along patterns, the mystery ones from a couple of years ago. Can't remember the name of it. I will find it and pop it on the screen. So I only did the very centre bit of it, which I really loved, and I do want to continue doing it, but I don't know. I think just I don't know, got carried away with other projects and I didn't carry on. So I don't know. I do want to keep going. I think it's really pretty. But I know some folk that have done several of his patterns said that that wasn't one of their favourites, so maybe that's the reason that's put me off as well. But I'm sure I will carry on with it at some point, especially because I've set the yarn aside for it. So, what else? Yeah, I've got two more things to show you, and I think that's everything. Although I feel like there's something else. I always am like that though. Now this was one that I was making up myself years ago when I first started thinking about hand-dyed yarn and things. So that's why the end of it is unusual. You can't really see it very easily. So I just started. The idea was to make a shawl, but not certain about the shaping of it. But I didn't dare rip it out because I thought at some point I might come back and adapt it. And I think I thought it could have like a dip and then go wide from there so that you could get it out of one skein of yarn. This one is, what was it called? I can't remember what it's called. It's one of Deanna of Lovebug's yarns, one of her colourways, really pretty. I feel like it was one of the festivals, like a special for the festival. It was really lovely. So at some point I might adapt this and do something. I do like experimenting sometimes. I also did with this. The colours are not, there was just random bits I had left over, which is why I was experimenting, but it was playing with, sorry, excuse the fact that I've got yarn on each end. I think I did that so it didn't get tangled. very tangled. Oh, best of intentions. Yeah, I thought I would try doing something like a combination of knitting and crochet. I've always wanted to do something like that, and I do want to come up with a shawl of some kind doing that using minis, but I put it off again. At some point I will get these things done. One day, when someone's like, yes, you can do it, Erin. Instead of doubting, as I usually do. Is that everything? I think that's everything I looked out. The last thing is this. Just checking in case there's something I've forgotten. Right, I don't know if I've got, hang on. Have I got any of these in here? Okay, yeah, not the full thing, but when I was talking about the tapestry wool hexagons earlier, this is what they were like. Really pretty. It's not the full one, because it's just as I was finding ones, but they're lovely. So I think it'll look beautiful when it's done. I forgot I'd taken the tin down, but I didn't take the whole blanket down. Yeah, is there something in here? No, that's not what I was thinking it was. I thought there was something else, but that's okay. Right, the very last thing to show you is this sweater. So I excuse the ends on this, but I've just tied them behind at the moment until I'm confident that it looks neat, and then I can stitch them in. I was a vendor at Yorkshire Yarn Fest in November, and they had a make-along for it, which was using the Liko sweater by Florence Spurling, I think, excuse me, and it's a lovely pattern, really beautiful. But it's my first time doing like wrapping of yarn to create the yoke. It's really pretty. I love it, and it's just using mini skeins for the colour bit, and I'm using the undyed yak just for the background because I thought it'd be nice. But yeah, look at the it looks messy. It's because the yellow and green ones I'm still working with at the moment, and then these ones I have just tied behind like that until I'm certain that I'm happy with the, in case I need to block it out a little bit or anything. I thought I don't want to stitch in the ends and hide them and then it doesn't fit or something. So it looks super duper messy just now, but it's really good fun to work on. It just needs a bit of concentration. So it's not one to do when there's other folk around. But yeah, I think it'll be gorgeous when it's done. So it's, yeah, just the yoke is all flowery and then plain body. So I think it'll be really nice. But it's just, the mess of the ends kind of gets me too. So there's a limit to how long I can work on this without feeling stressed. And then, yeah, I knew as I got nearer Yorkshire that I wasn't going to manage to get it done. So I set it aside and I haven't come back to it yet. But it's one that I want to get finished. So maybe I should try and focus on that and get cracking. It's just because I know I've got loads left to do before I get to the stage of finishing the details. Because this is just half. Then you've got to repeat that on the next section. Yeah, so I'm not sure yet that it's something I can commit to and get through quickly. It's maybe one of those projects that's going to have to just